We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
I may not be a millionaire. I may not have a brand new Frigidaire. My clothes ain't all fancy, and my car ain't brand new. But there is joy in my house. I find joy in my house. There is joy in my house. There is joy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, an inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who says it.
And I'm joined here with my co-host, Lolita Robinson. How are you doing today?
Hey,
Lolita?
I'm okay. Well, how about you in spite of everything that's going on?
One day at a time,
I
one
tell
moment
you,
at a time.
I know.
We want to send our prayers and our condolences to the victims out there and the families of in Connecticut. What a tragedy. What a tragedy. And our prayers are with you guys and definitely our condolences.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we don't want to start off on a low note, but we need to take into consideration what's going on and to let people know that we do care out here. It affects us all. I was out last night with a friend of mine and we went to see a good movie, a Silver Lining Playbook. Excellent.
Oh, I heard it was.
It was really good.
Film.
But you could just see the look on people's faces. It was a lot of people out. The holidays were out, but people, you can just see the stress in their lives. So hopefully,
I think so. You know, it's the holidays, and many of us have children.
Yes.
Or grandchildren.
Right.
That are in schools, and we dread the day that we'll ever get a phone call
That's
like
right,
that,
that's
or
right.
hear the news of such a tragedy could ever even happen, let alone 26 people, 27, including the gunmen.
That's right.
Pass on, especially children. So it is a tragedy, and once again, our prayers and our condolences go out to the families out in Connecticut and just the city and in general, the city in general, because I think it's a tragedy.
It is. So today, hopefully, I know you're going to talk about our guests, that we can provide hope that even in the midst, no matter how dark it is, Jesus never promised us a rose garden. He didn't. He said that we would have trials and tribulations, but behold, he would be with us. So we want to bring some hope today, huh, Joel?
Definitely. And we have a great in-studio guest, Micheal Brantley, here today, author of Hallway, his autobiography. It's amazing. I read this. I got it a couple of days ago, and I said, I'm going to sit down and read it. And I said, you know what? Do I really need to read it? I opened it last night around 11 o'clock. I could not put it down.
Oh, that's what you said. Yeah, I just got it.
I could not put it down.
I tell you, when I met the man, just joy radiates from him. So he
has an amazing testimony of hope, and I love what he it says here, the epic journey from victim to victor.
That's right.
The life of Micheal Brantley, you're not going to want to miss. I do want to recap last week. Also, we had an amazing guest as well last week, Reverend Dr. Long.
Yes,
great friend and great contributor to her community, and very humble.
Yes, very humble.
For all her accolades, being a reverend, being a doctor, and everything she gives back to the community you don't even hear about.
And you know what? She didn't have a chance because it wasn't enough time here, but she went through such trials with her daughter who was sick for years.
That's what she was mentioning.
She mentioned
we talked about it. Oh, you know what? She mentioned it when we had lunch.
Right, that's
there.
right. Okay.
No, you weren't there one time when I first spoke with her.
Did she tell you about that story?
She was telling me so.
She's, people that sit in these chairs, you were talking about being credited. It's what we go through and come out the other side to where the victory comes when we trust God. So
and you spoke on that at her event,
right?
Which actually created the premise of the show, Joy in My House. She actually sang Joy in My House at her event. But you were speaking and it spoke to my heart, that being credible, you have to go through it and come out the other side.
You do.
In order to be credible. You can always be in theory and book smart.
Right.
But when you walk through that fire and you walk through it.
That's right.
You really are credible.
That's right. That's your testimony. Oh, that's your testimony.
Well, I did want to give a teaser for next week. Next week, the 23rd of December, we are going to have a great Christmas special for you all out there. Lolita Robinson will be singing some Christmas songs and some of her music off her new album, Changes, which you can find on lrcministries.com, or you can go to not GoDaddy.
Oh,
It's cdbaby.com.
GoDaddy.
cdbaby.com. You can purchase her new album Changes. It's on there right now. And I do want to remind all of you that our Christmas special is going to be special.
Yeah.
We have a great gentleman by the name of Lee, who has just opened up his restaurant, which is a good friend,
Yes.
Grub and Hut out in Long Beach, California, who's going to be sponsoring the show and is going to bring in some amazing dishes from his new restaurant and his new barbecue sauce. And it's an all-purpose
boy,
sauce.
Yes, that's a miracle story.
Gotta
in itself.
taste it.
Yeah.
Gotta taste
They
it.
started out there in their kitchen at home.
And a very godly man. I got an opportunity to sit down with him a couple of times. And,
Yeah, he is.
He ministered to me.
Yes, he is. He's powerful.
Yes, great witness. So our Christmas special next week is at noon here on www.LA Talk Live. You can find all our updates and in-studio guests and info on Joy in My House on Facebook or joyinmyhouse.com. You can visit us on Twitter /joyinmyhouse as well. Send us a tweet or a comment. We appreciate you engaging with us. You, the audience. We do it for you guys out there, and hopefully for you guys to hear a word or hear something that maybe you need to hear at this moment in time in your lives.
And also my pastor from Bridges Church in Long Beach,
We'll
Pastor J.T. Timberland, he will be with us.
And he'll be giving our Christmas special you're not going to want to miss next week. Once again, you can follow us on joyinmyhouse.com. You can find us on Facebook /joyinmyhouse. You can tweet us directly at latalklive.com /Twitter. Engage with us. We want to hear you. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to have our first in-studio guest today, Micheal Brantley. Don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Come on.
In the early dawn of day, he quietly slips away. A peaceful and humble man, he seeks his Father and prays. He is not God, so they say. He doesn't really hear. That's not so, he's just a prayer away for those who draw near.
Season's greetings. This is Richard Carr, station manager at LA Talk Live, and I just wanted to take a moment out to thank all of our listeners out there who help to make LA Talk Live the internet's newest and hottest destination for beautiful music and invigorating talk. And I wanted to send out my heartfelt holiday wishes to all of our listeners worldwide and wish you all the very best of holiday seasons. Here's to peace, prosperity, and good health in the new year. Thanks for listening to LA Talk Live, and thanks for your support. Happy holidays to everyone.
I'm always in one of mine. Constant spins, not trusting. He opens doors to go in.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Joy in My House, an inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And absolutely no one is insignificant who says it.
That's right. That's right. We're joined here, in-house studio guest Micheal Brantley. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Fam, what happened to That's all right. We're happy.
Awesome.
I met Micheal through one of our good friends, Paul Obel, who I met at a Christian business meeting where we decided to to exchange numbers because he has a web design company. Not knowing the network that he had, he introduced me to you the other day and said, you need this guy to be on your show. He has an amazing testimony. He has a book out called Hallway. You got to get him on board. So I want to welcome you to the show and thank you for taking the time out to come out and be a part of the joy that we have in our house and maybe bring some hope and inspiration to some of the listeners and viewers out there.
I'm really honored to be here. This is amazing.
Well, thank you for the show.
And when I got a chance to meet Michael, because I didn't have the lunch with him, when I hugged him and the laugh and just the joy really of the Lord is in this man's life. And from the little that I've heard, I can't wait to hear your testimony and how God has taken you through. I mean, you've seen the depths of hell.
Yes.
Okay, and you've come out to tell about it. So I'm waiting. I want to hear.
Well, let me first ask you, how do you know Paul? How did you meet Paul?
I met Paul at a class we were both attending about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of went our own ways for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And then we hooked up through a friend of mine named Scott Parsons. And God just started connecting. And then Paul also came to a couple of the crusades and was a real blessing. And then we just started taking off from there again.
Wow.
So now we're going to work together in the crusades. And
Well, what kind of class was it?
it was a class at Benny Hinn Ministries.
Oh, okay.
About 8 or 9 years ago.
All right.
And it was awesome.
Oh, okay.
God knows what he's doing. It's, you know what, sometimes it seems like it's supposed to happen right now, but he, through the years, gets everything set, puts the pieces of the puzzle together, and he goes, now it's time.
Oh, that's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
And here
God's
you are
time.
sitting with us. I'm blessed.
We always talk about how God puts people in our lives. I mean, I met Paul, 6, 7 years ago, at least 6 years ago, not knowing that he would be such an integral part of my recovery, such an integral part of Lolita's career, development of her career, and also an integral part of this show, Joy in My House. He sits on the board of directors of the show, and he's one of our directors of talent. And sure enough, he picks them well. He picks them well, Michael. Like I said, I had an opportunity last night to open the book, and I could not put it down. And you said that to me. You said somebody else had said that, and I think I kind of thought, well, a lot of people say that. I had a book and I really literally couldn't put it down. So I want to thank you again for being a part of this show and coming on board. Let's start with your family of origin. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Hamilton County, Cincinnati, Ohio, in September 15th.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. I love it.
And my dad my bio dad he was a gambler, and he had gotten paid, and he came home and he slammed a quarter on the table and said, "You're one blank of a woman if you can raise the kids on this," and then took off. I never saw him after that. So my mom was like, "What do I do?" So she worked her way out to California, and then as things took place, we ended up in the, I have a real full-blooded brother and sister that we were all three together, but then we were separated through the orphanage and foster home
She
system.
put you guys in foster care?
Well, from what I understand, the state made her at that time.
Who was the oldest? You? Were you the oldest?
No, my sister, Pat. And I'm the middle, and then my brother Tommy was the youngest.
So yes, I was reading that in the book, how your mom came and really was being diligent and trying to find some work and trying to get you guys some housing as a family, but it just was not working, and she was just struggling.
Yes.
And eventually did give you guys up for adoption.
Yes.
With the understanding that if she settled herself and got a steady job, got her home, that she would get you guys back.
Exactly.
Now, how was your foster family? Let's talk about that.
The foster families, I don't remember too much. I had a couple letters from them, but they just kind of like write little notes about what did Mikey like to do. And I've always my whole life want to please people, even as a baby. Empty the cigarette. They'd had cigarette ashtrays, or take off the man's shoes. That was my foster dad. And as soon as he got home from work, and God just instilled that in me, even as a baby. Yeah.
Even as a baby.
Yeah. And so then I'm not even sure exactly how many years and all that we were with them, because my brother and sister were put somewhere else, and then I was put by myself.
Oh boy.
And so we went through that, and then I do remember very clearly the orphanage, and this nurse, I was really small, so she looked huge, and dressed all in white, and I had on my black jeans, my cowboy shirt, and boots. And there was this orange Volkswagen convertible with a black top. Mm-hmm. And so the nurse is taking me out, or the whatever they call them in the orphanage, and walking me out. And I remember this huge water fountain. It was awesome. And then we're approaching the car, and then she lets go of my hand and says, "This is your new parents."
The car?
Huh?
I'm confused. She
the lady.
The people. Oh, she's taking you to the people inside that car. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they had gotten out of the car.
Oh, okay.
And they were waiting there to meet me.
Oh, wow.
And so then she turned me over to them. And then I thought, okay.
Here we go again, huh?
Here we go again.
Oh, my God. What kind of feelings were, at the very beginning, were you feeling with all this transference of people?
Insecurity. How long will it last? Is it for real?
Man.
You know, and being really young at the time, too, you just like, it was just unbelievable, really. But the car was stacked.
That's
with
what I'm
toys.
saying. I'm looking at
there
the car.
Was so many toys in this car, so it got me kind of excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, hopefully, I haven't read the book yet, so I'm looking forward to it. But
How did the family take you, and how did you feel?
Yeah.
As the family.
At first, it was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Why was it awesome? What?
Because there was this house that I could stay at, that I could go out and play, come back, because the orphanages, you didn't do that. So you could go outside, play, see your friends, and do those kind of things. And then my parents, adopted parents, were...
so these weren't fosters. These people adopted you?
Adopted me from the orphanage.
All right.
Yeah. And so then everything was great. We did the normal American thing, go to the beach, go to friends' houses and play with their friends or whatever. And it was fantastic until I was about 8 or 9 years old. Mm-hmm. And then my whole world was turned upside down through sexual abuse from the dad.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Amazing.
Did they have other children?
My real brother and sister. They found them. And that was so awesome. And to this day, I'm so thankful that somehow, some way, they found all three of us, even though we were separated.
You mean that your biological brother and sister ended up in that house too?
Yes. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the adopted parents found your brother and sister and brought you guys under one roof.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Then you started being sexually abused.
Yes.
Oh.
And so,
ooh.
yeah, and it robs you of your innocence.
I mean, just the pervasiveness of, I was telling my brother who called me, he was devastated when those kids got murdered. And I thought, back in the Old Testament, kids were sacrificed on altars. But the enemy is still doing it. He's doing it by snatching them out of the womb. He's abducting them from the streets. And sexual abuse is heinous.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Michael.
Mm-hmm. And then when my mom would say, okay, it's time to take a shower with your dad because you're going to go off and go someplace or something, and you don't want to. And they had like a 90-foot long narrow hallway in their house.
Oh, that's why you have this hallway on the front of your...
Well, that's part of a vision that I had from my first book. And I remember, you step into the shower and then he does this thing. If you tell anybody, I'll kill you. So you're just a kid.
Oh, Michael.
Right. And you want to love them and you want to,
Do you remember what you did? Because it's important for people who have been sexually abused. I was sexually abused as a child, too. And to this day, I do not like to watch Wizard of Oz because I was being abused when that was on. I can remember detaching from my body. I can remember just spacing out.
Yes.
Do you remember what you were going through in that experience? I mean, how you dealt with it?
At the time, I didn't.
Okay.
I lived in constant fear.
All right.
My dad was
so you stayed present. Then you didn't detach emotionally. You stayed present.
Because it kept going on and on and on.
Oh,
it's like you just get to this place of you feel dirty inside.
Yeah, you do.
And it's like a love-hate. Mm-hmm. I love you for letting me in your house, but I hate you for what you're doing to me. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I can't talk about it to nobody.
Oh, yeah. Michael. People don't really, and thank you. Because it's such a thing that a lot of men are ashamed to talk about. Women talk about it a lot, but the men that are now stepping forward, thank you so much for being willing to talk about that, how it affected you. I'm sure you're going to go on and,
So
Yeah,
that's
I know.
just, it's so heavy, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't want to be transparent. So I commend you on being as transparent as you are, because I think people out there really need to know that you're not alone, and that this happens, and that you need to talk about it.
And to more men than people realize.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Men have a macho image, but you can't be free in Christ if you don't allow Him to heal you and allow Him to. Sometimes they always preach, you got to forgive, but sometimes it comes to a place, and I've preached messages on it, where when you don't have love, God gives you His love. When you don't have grace, God gives you His grace. When you don't have forgiveness, God gives you His forgiveness. And you can forgive through that channel of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right.
And I don't know, God in my whole life, even when I was radical and fought a lot in the world and stuff, He gave me this love, even for the parents, that I can't describe it. It only had to come from Him. And although I was 25 years old before I dealt with it, and before when I got saved, and never saw counseling. I mean, I was forced to see a psychiatrist when I was little, but I never did any of that. It's just God and the Lord, the Holy Spirit got a hold of me, and I was like emptied. And then everything that was taken out bad, it's like He immediately replaced with all this most amazing love and gifts and everything from Him.
Well, it'll be interesting to hear as you guys go on with this interview how the abuse played out and how God, through the process, was able to bring about that healing. Because you're right about forgiveness. You know, it is a process. I mean, I've never had any kind of hostility or hatred towards those who were abusive towards me. But God did give me a chance to really see what happened and what it robbed, and I got the chance to grieve the loss of it. And then I was able to, walk through the forgiveness of that. But God doesn't say, okay, it happened, forgive them and get on with it. He doesn't do that. But through a process, He does empty us of us and fills us with His love.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, I was going to ask you, how did it play out throughout your adolescence now?
Yeah.
Now, as you get a little older and you're in school, what goes on?
I fought a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, these high school friends that lived up the street, and I was like in the 6th grade, and I had a rage inside of me.
I bet.
And I had people thought it was a hot temper and stuff, but it wasn't. I had to hold all this stuff inside of me, and I couldn't talk to nobody. And because of that, it was amazing. They set up this fight in this kid's garage.
Oh, wow.
And I did not want to fight because I'd never fought before that. And so when they set it up, they started saying some comments, and then my friend hit me in the face.
The one who set up the fight?
No, the high school people set up this fight between us.
Oh,
and we were like in elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And so what happened?
Betrayal everywhere around.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so what happened was he hit me, and then he hit me again. And then he hit me again. I said, okay, I can't hold back. And man, I went off on him.
Boy.
And I saw blood, and I liked it.
Oh, wow.
Until I started walking home, then I felt this tremendous guilt. So now I had to deal with that. But then these high schoolers set up fights with me with high schoolers.
Wow.
And I'd whip them.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I had so
I'm
much.
surprised you're not in ultimate fighting or cage fighting today.
Yeah, I did box for the YMCA in the Navy.
Oh, wow.
And
It's not really funny, but I hear what you're saying. I mean,
there's so much anger and
so much anger and
yeah.
rage that people don't. So that's where yours went to rage then.
Yeah, because you're violated
Oh, God. And
against your own will.
Yeah.
So how do you retaliate against that? And
Well, what about your brothers and sisters? Do you think they were being abused in that
yes, I
situation
know
too?
they were. And there were some incidences that I won't say over the radio that took place. And yeah, my sister paid a heavy price, and my brother's dead from AIDS.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. Thank God that the story doesn't end here, but
That's right. That's right. Thank God.
So you were
for his
fighting.
work. So through your adolescence, you were
And
getting
athletics. I excelled in sports.
Did you?
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah, because you just get on the baseball field, track and baseball I loved. And yeah,
And so you stayed with they were your adoptive parents. And the mother was what they call a silent witness. I think they're the worst
yeah.
because she had to have known what was going on.
Yeah. Yes, and I have to be very careful what I say.
Of course.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's
Okay.
like
They're still living.
because my heart is this: the adopted dad has already died, and and the mom is still alive, and my heart is I don't want to. If she hears this, I don't want to put like judgment on anybody. I'm
Okay.
done and beyond that, and I
That's
don't want
it.
the world to think of them as, because you got to forgive.
Right.
If you don't forgive, you can't love.
No, that's true.
It's impossible to love if you can't forgive, because in love is forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned that the hard way. And anybody, when they betray me, I get betrayed. And when you're in ministry, you get betrayed all the time. When you're doing stuff like this for the Lord, the only one that doesn't betray you, it seems like, is Jesus.
That's right.
So many times.
No, you're right. You're very,
And so,
very true.
but you learn that, you know what? This is nothing, Jesus, to what you went through for us.
So you remind me of wise and gentle. You're wise as a serpent, but you're gentle as a dove.
Oh, thanks.
That's what it said. Yeah, you can see it. In other words, you know how to sum things up. You can see things. You're smart, but God still keeps that gentleness about us.
Yeah.
You know.
Praise the Lord.
So let's continue. Since you're fighting in school, how did that affect your academics? Your even just your.
My brother and sister were straight A students, never had to study, never had to do anything. They wrote poetry, a magnificent poetry. My sister was amazing in drama class and all that stuff. And I would get C's and D's and F's, and I would work my heart out. and I would get whipped. I would get beaten to a pulp.
Wow.
And so then they found out that I was legally deaf when I was young, and that I couldn't see the chalkboard. But they had already beaten me, and this is when I was seeing the psychiatrist and all this stuff. And
how did you get to the psychiatrist?
Because they
Who took you?
couldn't.
The school did it?
No, my mom.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm not allowed to say names, but
No, that's okay.
then when I went to see the doctor, there was things that took place that he noticed, and there was some heavy stuff that went on. And by the way, no, I'm not going to say that. But it's like I believe that God can use anybody and everybody that is surrendered to him. But through my experiences with psychiatrists, they can only help you with what you let them in on in your life.
That's very true.
But Jesus can help you with everything, even the things that you don't want him to know about.
Right.
He's still there always, and his love penetrates. And so I learned that, and through the fighting and all that, it's.
Did you get in alcohol and drugs at all?
Oh, later on in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not in high school or.
Nope, sports.
The sports
Athletic.
kept
Well,
you. So you
I
recommend
smoked
sports for kids? Huh?
Yeah, I smoked Benson and Hedges cigarettes,
I
but my
remember them.
adopted mom thought I was smoking dope,
Mm.
and I tried to tell her I wasn't, so I got sent to reform school.
Oh boy, this story.
Wow.
My
You
goodness.
never, ever send your kid to reform school.
I
Never.
don't, do they still have them?
I don't know, but it's horrible.
Well, maybe with
You
these
were talking to me about how bad it was.
maybe like those camps for what those discipline camps. Maybe that's
Juvenile
what
halls
that's. Yeah,
and
that
things
kind
of
of
that
stuff
nature.
like that. Yeah.
Oh no, it's way, way beyond that.
Yeah, I
The
remember.
federal prisons don't compare to reform school. I mean, they
Oh,
beat you with 2x4s. They do some of the most insane stuff. They instill fear in you like it's unbelievable. And because you're classified, and I was with kids. I mean, one kid had beat his mom over the head with a shovel. That's what kind of kids you're with. But I had smoked a Benson and Hedges cigarette and got busted for it, and said, and they put off this propaganda like it's okay and it's a cool school and stuff. But then when you get inside, it's
You saw the difference.
yeah. So that's why I can pick up on a controlling spirit in the church, in ministry, and I don't want anything to do with it. Because
That's what I
reform
said.
school,
You have discernment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue. Let's talk about after high school. What did you do? Where did you go? Did you go to college? Did you
3 days
find a
after I
job?
graduated, I was in boot camp, the United States Navy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Navy man. My husband was too.
Yeah.
Thank
but
you
what
for
was
serving.
yeah, praise God. And my son's in now. He's overseas, as a matter of fact, in the Navy. But yeah, that was one awesome thing. Remember, no matter what my parents did to me, I still loved them. My adopted dad and me graduated at the same time from night school.
Oh really? He
Wow.
didn't have his GED?
Nope.
Wow.
And,
did he ever apologize to you? Not that was important. Did he
No.
ever acknowledge or when did the abuse stop?
And that stopped in 6th grade.
You were big enough to say, "Get away from me," or?
Yeah, and yeah, there's some incidences that happened. Yeah, and
glad to hear it.
Yeah, and so so that was awesome. And then I was in boot camp. I remember I had been in reform school. You have no freedom. You were told win this, win that, da 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 da, and I was beaten severely because when I went in I was 13 and my grade level was at the 5th grade. But also fear works. I don't believe to do it that way, but it works. In 1 year, I was in the 11th grade level because I was so paranoid of what would happen to me. And I don't recommend that. I don't condone it.
No, I didn't hear that. But it's interesting that you would go from that structured environment into the military.
I thought, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, boot camp. I'm thinking, I've lost it. I've lost it. And so it's like, oh my gosh. And I made it through boot camp and
without fighting. I mean, you said you had this rage still.
Yeah, no.
How were you able to surrender to your superiors? God's hand had to be on you because some people are so against authority that they just lash out, but you didn't.
Well, there was one time in boot camp, and the CC comes into the barracks and says, "Attention on deck," and I just lollylarked around, being rebellious. I said, "No, I don't feel like it right now." Man, he laid into me and he cold-cocked me. Pow! Back in the day, you could do that.
You were able to do that, right?
I saw stars, man. I said, okay, he's got my attention.
Oh, my God.
But you know what? In life, too.
That's interesting.
In my life, it's like if there's something that's coming against me, I will figure out a way to make it to where it subsides or where it gives in. So I learned real quick after that, I can't be messing around here. And so then I got, so many things came against me. Even in boot camp, I got majorly sick and they were going to set me back. And I walked out of the hospital and said, no, I'm not going to be set back. I'm going to graduate with my company. I had 105 fever. And I said, I'm going to march. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And so I did. And I graduated with the company. And
did you see any battle? Did you?
No.
Go? Okay.
No. And then,
well, you've seen plenty of battle, but I'm talking about
war.
Yeah, let me clarify that.
Spiritual warfare.
Yeah, you've had a lot of that.
And so made it through the Navy, and then I was getting ready to get out, and that's when I met Pamela.
Yeah, let's talk about Pam because I think that's a real special story.
Yeah.
So you meet Pam.
Yes. When I met Pam, I was not a nice person. I was friendly and stuff. I was 18. And so I was doing the drugs and the booze. I drank heavy.
Did you learn that in the service? They say a lot of times your kids go and they learn that stuff in the service.
Yeah.
Not to blame the service, but
when you go out to sea for a long time, it does something to you. And then your friends, they're like, oh, man. And they never drank before. And then all of a sudden they're drinking. You say, okay, I'll try it. And then you get just, hooked on it. And using that as a release because you don't know the Lord. But there was this hospital corpsman on ship, and he was married. And he was so faithful to his wife, even though we were overseas.
Wow. And
he used to just call me in all the time. Just me. Nobody else, just me. And he would talk to me. And I'd share my stories. And he'd keep preaching Jesus to me. I said, I don't want to hear about Jesus. But he always would, but he was very kind about it. And so then time went on. And he says, Mike, God has somebody for you that will bless you. Wow. I don't want to hear that. And because I had tremendous walls up.
I'm surprised you even trusted him to go in a room.
Yeah, it was amazing.
After what he
was awesome, though, this guy.
So you really could tell his spirit. Okay, yeah.
Well, and just being faithful to his wife. He didn't cuss. He didn't go. He was always reading his Bible everywhere he was at.
What a witness.
And in the military on a ship, and I'm going like, whoa, everybody else is like cussing like sailors and drinking and all that stuff. So anyway, my best friend in the Navy dated Pam. Well, him and Ray, they brought their girlfriends, and Pam was Ron Kane's girlfriend at the time. And I looked at her and I go, whoa.
Jesse's girl.
Yeah.
Jesse's girl. I told you he has a great laugh. I told you.
Yeah. And so I looked at her and I go, oh my goodness. And so then they said they had to go and they were walking back to the cars. And I said, oh man, I'll walk back to the cars with you. And so,
since when did you become an escort, right?
Yeah, and so it was awesome. And we're walking back, and then we started sharing our cars. We had the most awesome cars. I mean, I had a '66 Chevelle that was really souped up, and it was nice. And he had a
now Joel's grinning.
yeah. Ray had a Roadrunner, and Ron had a Camaro, I think it was. So we're showing off our cars. Well, 2 days later, Ron says, "Hey, you like Pam, don't you?" And I go, "Oh my gosh!" And he goes, "Man, she is too straight for me. She goes to church."
Oh.
She says, if you want to take her out." So,
wow.
So inside of my heart's going like, and it's like, oh wow. And so, I went to the pier and I called, and we talked for like 10 minutes or whatever, because you had to put money in. And then I just finally, like, I'm sweating. I'm going, here's the big question, because I had to let my walls down, and I had to really
be vulnerable.
Yes,
you have to be vulnerable.
And then I asked.
You hadn't seen any kind of love in your life like that. I mean,
no,
hadn't been modeled to you at all.
And I didn't have girlfriends before that, because my athletics was my girlfriend. I mean, seriously. And so I asked her out, and she said yes. And people around said I jumped 2 feet in the air and was like, oh my gosh. So I went and picked her up, and it was just amazing. And we were married 2.5 years, never had an argument, and I never touched drugs or booze.
But you said you weren't a nice guy, so were you?
Well, I was, because I was in
her?
the world. No,
okay.
When I met her, I became all undone.
Did you go in church with? Did she take you to church with her? Obviously.
Yeah,
okay.
I met her pastor, Pastor Dan Cheek, and he didn't judge me. I was straightforward with him and everything. He never condemned me, and it was a Baptist church in Chula Vista. And awesome man, he really impacted my life and accepted me where I was at, and it was amazing.
Well, I do want to get. We're running a little low on time, but I do want to get. So you married her?
Married.
Yes.
And you had children?
No.
Okay.
And then something tragic happened.
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
She had the hepatitis B in the blood from a blood transfusion when she was born 6 weeks early. But she was always totally healthy. But even while we were dating, she went in the hospital a couple times. As a matter of fact, when I proposed to her, she was in the hospital with all these tubes up in her, and she had gotten pneumonia along with this blood problem. And I proposed to her right there in the hospital, in her hospital bed. And because when you love, it really does blind you to everything and anything, because you see their heart, you see the impact that they've had on your life and the impact you've had on their life, and it just connects. True love really is an awesome connection. So many people in the church and out of it don't understand what real love is. And I do. I can honestly say that I know what it is. And so I proposed to her, and we got married shortly after that. Everything was awesome, and then, man, all of a sudden it kicked into the liver. And I mean, it had through her whole life, but I mean, now it came to the place where it would swell up, and you could see the formation of the liver, and and it was amazing. So then it was amazing that my brother, hadn't seen him for a long time, happened to stop in, surprisingly. And he says, so he came in, and we talked, and Pam talked, and so he says, hey, you want to go to the movies? A Star is Born just come out. And I said, sure. Do you want to go, honey? And she goes, nah, I think I'll stay home. I'm feeling a little tired. So we went to the movies, got back like at 1, and she was still up. And then her favorite thing was like a mustard and bologna and pickles and all that kind of sandwich. So she said, can I have one, honey? And I said, sure. And so I went and made her that with orange juice. She liked it with orange juice. And so then we talked for a little while, fell asleep. And then she, it was 7:30. She woke me up and said, Mike, you got to get to school. I was in electronics tech then. And I said, no, you know what? My brother's down. I think I'll take today off so you don't have to entertain. You said you were tired and stuff. Said, I love you to each other. Praise God. And fell back asleep. Got up at 9 o'clock, went in and washed my face, looked at her. She's gone.
Oh, boy.
She had passed.
Wow.
She passed.
So this was early on.
Yeah.
Wow, so this happened years ago.
Yes.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And you wondered, was such a sweet spirit like that, why didn't he heal her? Or did you get angry with the Lord?
Oh my gosh. They were going to, the sheriffs, they came with the black car, and they were saying, you have got to settle. I was cussing God out. I flipped him off. I said, I will never serve you as long as I live, because there was a part in there that if God healed her, that I would serve him for the rest of my life. And she got totally was able to come home from the hospital 2 days later.
So you figured that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in bed, I saw, you know what? That's a slap in the face. I hate you. I will never serve you as long as I live. And then I got into the drugs.
Wow.
And booze heavy.
Well, when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're listening to Michael Brantley's story, his autobiography, The Hallway. And when he comes back, he's going to talk about how he gave his life to Christ through all this tragedy, and through all this, still now is ministering and crusading for Christ. So when we get back, you're not going to want to miss. This is Joy in My House.
Can't sleep, my mind's been racing, 'cause my stocks have taken a dive. No doubt the landlord's waiting, can't pay my rent again this month. There has been war debating.
Hi, I'm Renina Minter.
And I'm Delana Watson, inviting you to join us every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time
for our show, Sisters Seeking Solutions. Join us as we discuss real-life issues,
hot topics,
reality TV,
and current events,
while providing entertaining and encouraging solutions.
So don't forget to tune in to Sisters Seeking Solutions.
More than a show, a movement. Every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, exclusively on latalklive.com.
You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv, and now on Radio Flag and every mobile device.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Can't sleep, my mind's been racing.
Welcome back to Joy in My House, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined here by my co-host, Lolita Robinson.
Boy, I'm really enjoying this set. I'm learning a lot here today.
And we're also joined with our in-studio guest, Michael Brantley, author of Hallway. He's here sharing about his book. He was just explaining to us and letting us know a little insight in his life's history, and some of the tragedies that he's faced. And through these tragedies, he's able to find hope. Let's continue, Michael. Again, thank you for joining us. And
thank you for having me again.
Thank you for being so transparent with your life, because I know it's not something that is easy. Most of us, what we want to do is hide and not talk about these things. And yet you're being as open as you possibly can to hopefully inspire other people and give them hope through your challenges. And let's talk about one of your challenges that you faced after your wife passing, who was really on your heart, who you really fell in love with and got you to go to church and got you really to surrender to what God's plan was as you thought at that time. And then she passes, and tell us what happens after she passes. How do you deal with that?
Well, remember that I grew up in rejection and betrayal.
Right.
So that all took place. And so because of that, when Pam went home to be with the Lord, which I have no doubt she was an awesome Christian woman, even though I wasn't a Christian man, I turned just out of hatred towards God back to partying and drugs and the booze, heavy on the booze. Not so heavy on the drugs, but I did experiment, and drugs are like craziness, but the booze I really hit hard. And so then time goes on, and I moved back up to Chino, California, and Nana, who's in my book, Marcia, and her son Richard and daughter Donnell and Johnny, her other son, we were really family. And she was always there for me. All of them were. She always knew when something was up. And so I moved back up there, and then they kept inviting me to church. And I didn't want nothing to do with it. And then finally time goes by, and Richard says, man, just come to church one time. And so I go, and they were in a heaviness holy roller church. And I'm telling you, I walk in there, and I'm sitting on the left side of the church with Richard and Nana, Marcia, and I'm starting to hear all these noises. And at first, because there was a diverse type of people from different cultures and stuff, I thought, oh, they're just praying, in their own cultural language or whatever. But then it started like this whining and moaning, and then all of a sudden people are getting up and they're flying all over the church, man. I mean, they're like running around, and tambourines are going off, and I cussed the place out.
Oh my goodness! Oh.
I go, this is absolutely bananas. This is craziness, and I'm just
and
like,
they didn't kick you out.
No, and what changed my life forever. And anybody that knows me to this day, when I first met you guys, I give a hug. Mm-hmm. I was so impacted because they didn't say, get that guy out of here, he's full of the devil. Mm-hmm. They didn't kick me out of the church service. Afterwards, these people, guys and girls, all ages, came up and started hugging me.
Mm.
Wow.
And asking me out to lunch.
After you
wow.
And I'm going, this is even more nuts. And I'm going, wow.
There's got to be something. I got to see what this is about.
Yeah. So I did not go to lunch with them that time. But those hugs, it was like, because Nana Marcia raised her kids, and she was like always.
Well, who was Nana Marcia? Quickly,
across the street. They had moved in.
Oh, okay.
And she
I missed that.
was awesome lady that
so
was
she
there
took you
for me.
under her wing, kind of like, the Lord didn't leave you. He didn't leave you without comfort. He closed the door with Mark.
And he doesn't leave anybody without
right.
comfort.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about Tony and how you gave your life to Christ, your pastor Tony.
Yes.
Now, he was a pastor of that church where they were flying high? Or?
Yes. Yes. Rock and roll Pentecostal, man.
Yay, Tony.
Amazing.
Yay.
And he was an ex-Marine, so you didn't talk bad about it. You just went with the flow. But anyway,
you
awesome.
like those military people.
Yeah. Awesome man of God, though. And his son and daughter and wife were awesome. Oh. So one day, actually, just real quick, I had had the opportunity to move into this one house, but the guy studied demonology and was really into it. And I'll never forget walking up to his bookshelf, and I had this like coldness go all over me, like from everywhere. And right after that, for 3 weeks, I could not get out of bed.
Whoa.
I had the most insane headaches that I couldn't turn my head or nothing. So anyway, they came and they prayed over me, and I was finally able to get out. Pastor Tony said, you're to come live with us. So I got to live with them, and the Lord knew that I hated pastors. I hated anything to do with church. But watching Pastor Tony and his family was the most amazing thing.
And it seems like you were set free. You were set free from something? When did they pray over you? When
yeah.
Yeah, you were set free. I know you're trying to, poor guy. You got so much. Guys, you got to get Hallway. You got to get this book.
Yeah. And so what happened was, so I moved in with him, and the Lord knew, even though I didn't know it, that I needed to see these people that call themselves Christians, that they really do have love, that they really watch out for each other. And they were the tightest family. It was amazing. And they just accepted me right in. And Pastor Tony was the type, he read your laundry, and he had discernment beyond. And I had like $5,000 in warrants. He says, you get in that car and drive it, you're going to be in serious trouble. If you don't get in that car and drive it, I'll go to the courthouse with you and watch what God does. God did a major miracle.
Wow.
Then I got a job.
Made you get it straight.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
He was a parent, the father that you needed.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
awesome. I love him to today.
Dad, yes.
And so then I got a job driving big rigs, hauling hay. And so I think for about a year I was driving. And then on May 25th, I was headed out, and I had moved back with Nana Marcia. And just out of nowhere, that's all I can say, is my truck took me, because I didn't want to go. No, I loved my truck. Off a bridge, and we flew 80 feet through the air and rolled 15 times together.
Wow. You're kidding. What happened? Did you make a quick turn?
No, I fell asleep or something, or something happened. Nobody knows.
wow.
And
there's a picture in here where the truck is
and this is all after
full
you receive the
capacity,
Lord.
and after it just looks like a complete wreck.
Oh my goodness.
You have to get the book. After that, it looks.
Oh boy.
and this was after I accepted the Lord and totally trusted Him.
That's what. And
so guess what?
That's what says.
I felt betrayed by Him again. I didn't just get to go to the hospital. I had to stay in Loma Linda for like months. I had to stay in Casa Colina and Pomona for months, and on head injury ward where the devil just has total domain when you're weak-minded, Yeah,
I remember he was screaming all kinds of stuff.
Oh my gosh, I could tell you story after story, but so I remember God, I accepted Christ as my Savior. Everything I do. It's like you have me stamped to go to hell, irregardless. And so I turned on Him, and then I, got back into drinking and stuff. And then, but
now you can see that the enemy was warring and wrestling for you. Now you can see that, right?
Yes.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about when it all turned around. When
you
actually submitted and surrendered and said, "God, you have my life."
Yeah, that actually took place. I got into the dancing, and I became like John Travolta, man. I was tearing up the dance floor.
Dancing?
I had 3 suits that they'd keep behind the bar for me because I'd sweat so much. I was on every dance. I was known as the Black Angus dancer. And
where do you dance at Black Angus? They have a place at Black Angus?
Yeah, they had a dance floor.
They used to have a dance floor.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And all I was doing was aerobics, really. And I was just tearing it up. And I had no idea how to dance, but it was fun. And so then I started getting into the Hollywood scene. Then I went to Studio 51, and then they started training me. And then I actually was almost getting ready to land this huge commercial thing. And so right before that, I remember they were teaching some weird theology. And even though I was a baby Christian, I had like a check in my spirit, even though I didn't know what that was. And so I was working at the Chino School District at that time. They had made a tool crib, but they had made a special department for me because I worked on small engines. And so I was beating off a flywheel off an engine, and what do you think happens? A piece of metal flies through my eye, all the way through it, on the side of my optic nerve, right? And so I go in to order some parts, and Teresa was the secretary there, and she says, "Mike, what's going on with your eye?" And I rubbed it, and I go, "I know, it feels itchy and stuff." She says, "It's bleeding." And so, stats this, stat that. So they take me to the Chino Valley Hospital. Guess what? I'm in there for 8 days.
Wow.
They have to take my eye out of my head, get the metal, and then put the...
You've had a lot of stuff.
Sir, yeah. But you know what? And you know the nightclub scene, the Bible says if your right eye offend thee, pluck it out.
Oh, Lord, please, I don't want to go. We're not recommending you
those that live extreme.
He has extreme,
Yeah, but extreme blessings too. You just have to get to this place, as we were talking earlier, a process. God is so patient, so kind, so full of grace and mercy that He sees us through it. I hated Him, and He still never turned on me.
He took you through all of that.
I betrayed Him. He didn't betray me. Yeah. So it was amazing.
Did the pastor come back into your life at that point?
Oh, yeah, he's still in my life.
Well, Hallway, you have to get it. Where can they find it?
There, you can find it at www.thecrosswordgroup.org.
Thecrosswordgroup.org.
Yes, and we're just now developing a page where you can get an email. What do you call it?
Ebook.
Ebook, and that is it's completed, but we have to get the how you buy it on there, the cart.
Why did he write it? Huh?
Yes, my last question too is going to be why did you write the book?
One reason, hope.
Okay.
To give people hope that there's no hope in this life. The only place you will find hope is the author of it, Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus Christ shed His blood. He took on the most horrendous death that ever a man could face. And He did it for us, and He did it for anyone who's listening to this station right now. He did it for them no matter where they're at in life. No matter where. If you hate Him, He still loves you. And he still wants you to spend eternity with him. There is no answers in this world. The only answer comes through Jesus Christ. And he is our hope.
That was beautifully said for those out there who we talked about earlier, through the tragedies that are going on. Hope. It's not here.
It's really not. We want to thank Michael for joining us on the show. Join My House. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being transparent.
Thank you so much. It's been an awesome experience.
Make sure you guys go out and get it Hallway. You can also find him on Facebook, Michael Brantley, /facebook.com. Please feel free to link up with us on Join My House, and we'll have all info and updates of when his next crusade is in March. And if you can like to come out and support, we'll have all the information up on our website. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of time, and I just want to remind everybody of next week, December 23rd, we are having an amazing Christmas special with the Christmas message, and have a great sponsor come on. Grub and Hut is going to be sponsoring our food here, and Lolita will be performing some Christmas music on a lighter note.
And I also want to just say, yay, fan! I love our producer. Thank you. And also, I want to just quickly. Michael says that he has great outreach to youth, which is really important, in that he reaches so many people with diverse backgrounds. So I just wanted to put that out there when he does have his outreach. Please
come out and support. I said, find us on Facebook, /Join My House. Tweet us, send us a tweet. Any questions or comments you have, please link up with us. We would love to hear from you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Join My House. I want to thank you for joining us. Be blessed today.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Van. Thank you.
You can have all that I own. They don't belong to me. They were merely a loan. You can